On the Wado Radio Show.
DJ Wado, of course. It's the Wado Radio Show. And Taylor Gray is on the line with us. Kristen Gray's brother.
Yeah.
Or should I say, because I know everybody's saying you're his brother. We should say he's your brother. Right?
Yeah, it don't matter. As long as y'all know I'm the older brother.
That's what really matters, right?
Yep.
How you been, man?
Great, man. You know, just living, man. Pretty good.
That's good, brother. That's good, man. Who's the better artist between the two of you? That's what everybody really wants to know before we talk about this album.
I mean, you know, it just depends. It depends on your vantage point. Like, you know, if you like underground rap, you know, pretty much sticking close to that hip hop feel that, you know, pretty much has a nostalgic ode to maybe late 90s, early 2000 hardcore lyricism and stuff like that, you might feel me. But if you want like a more mainstream, silky sound mixed in with some creativity from a, you know, rap standpoint, you're going to feel Chris. I would say Chris, because Chris is just an amazing talent. That dude is a crazy artist.
That sounds like a big brother answer right there.
Yeah, bro. I mean, hey, it's just like I am unashamedly a fan of my little brother.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, I've seen him do things that no one will ever see from an artistic standpoint. So that's just what it's going to be.
Now, I gotta say this to you. I was listening to Brown Theory's interview with you on Musician's Testimony. And
okay.
when you said Puff Daddy is what got you into hip hop, I almost fell off my chair because I was not expecting that at all.
Yeah, they went hard on that. You know, I opened the door. Yeah. So, you know, I'm just being honest. Like that's where it started. And to be even more honest, if I go back and listen to some of that stuff and you know, hear the sound and kind of just like let that nostalgia set in again, I low-key don't even regret that.
Yeah.
Because at the time, man, Puffy was popping.
He was killing it.
Everybody was on it. Yep. So, you know.
Yep. Yeah. He was, I mean, like, this the thing. Like, because there was a hard divide back then. It was like underground, backpack, like raucous, Most Def, all of that. And then it was like Puffy with these shiny suits. You know what I mean? And it was almost like you had to pick a side. And I actually like both of them, but I would always front like I like the backpack stuff more. But
exactly. And you know, people was writing Puff's rhymes, and you know, I don't care what anybody says. He had a couple of dope verses. I'm sure he did right.
Yeah.
But you know, all about the Benjamin's verse, everybody knows that by heart. You know, if you really think back to the joint called Victory with Busta Rhymes, Big, you know, the sun don't shine forever.
Yeah.
You know, that, like, man, people knew what was up, man. So there was closet fans, and then there was me who didn't know anything about rap, and then Puffy he took my hip hop virginity. So there it is.
That's funny though. That is so funny, bro. So how did you like I know Cam kind of introduced you, your cousin Cam Cambino kind of introduced you into like backpack music, but like what was some of those artists, man, that like, you know what I'm saying, like you first got into? Cuz even like the Jay-Z and the Biggie, like that's more East Coast, man, but it's like the stuff you make, I'm just trying to figure out like what was it that really influenced your current sound?
Man, the most influential artist for me, in my opinion, is Common. Like Common is in my top 5 of MCs of all time. I think the album that did it for me was One Day It'll All Make Sense. Like that album just threw me for a loop, man. My dude BJ, he put us on to it, and you know, it just stuck with me, man. I will never forget listening to that album. So that's Common's the answer for me.
Yeah, so I'm sure it didn't hurt that he was from the Midwest.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I didn't really know a whole lot about the maybe the locations in the East Coast, West Coast
Yeah.
divide, and the dominance of all of that at that time. You know, I wasn't aware of it at the time. All I knew was that Common was ill, and that dude could spit, and he could exist anywhere as far as I'm concerned.
Mm.
So yeah.
That's what's up, bro. That's what's up. So man, let's talk about this new record, man. I gotta say, man, the lyricism on this boy is serious, brother.
Hey, that's where I come from. Where you write a whack verse and you get told about it. So I have to continue to keep that as part of my edge. But yeah, man, I appreciate that, bro.
Yeah, man. Let's talk about the concept, man. I think the concept is interesting. The mocker and the monarch.
hmm Yep. So the concept is kind of like this idea of looking in the mirror, and you see an image in the mirror, and you're either mocking the image to the best of your ability, and trying to display to everyone else an ideal version of what that image tells you or tells the world. So essentially, you're not being true to what the image actually represents. You're creating a mockery of it. Or the monarch perspective would be to see the image for what it is, accept it, know that it's true. But what dictates that image is not you. It's someone who is king over that image, who has actually the cause to define it outside of whatever your perspective is. So God begins to identify you and essentially help you reflect that to the world around you, so that you're walking in an identity that comes from the Creator. So there's that tension of wrestling through both, in that idea of perception versus reality, lies and truth and all that stuff.
So you're saying for each of us as individuals, we need to determine if our lives are representative of the mocker who's making a mockery of that image, or the monarch.
Yeah, and in a nutshell, I would say, yeah, there's layers to it, because even in that wrestle or that decision that we're trying to come to, we're still going to have tendencies that represent the mocker. Everyone wants to say, well, yeah, I want to pursue the monarch, but then there are just parts of you that you can't help but represent the mocker, because we're still battling our sin nature. We're still battling those things that someone else told us we were supposed to be, and we're just at war. So hopefully the album is presenting that wrestle through identity and trying to find out where you'll end up landing.
Mm. Where would you say you personally are on the scale right now?
On the scale,
Yeah.
I mean, man, I think it's just different by the day, bro. You know, sometimes I'm more aware of my sin and my need for God's grace than others. Other days, it's almost like the more you're aware of the mocker, the more you are the monarch. And the more you think you're the monarch, the more you're actually the mocker.
Wow.
So it's kind of twisted in that sense, where you can't really identify it yourself. You have to let God be the one to determine who you are and where you are.
How did you come up with this concept? Because it's an interesting, just like analogy, man. Like looking at it like that.
Well, the biblical foundation is in James chapter 1, when it's talking about the image that you see in the mirror, and the mirror actually being the Word of God. So when you look into the mirror and you walk away and you forget what the mirror tells you, then that's basically like ignoring the Scriptures or ignoring what God's truth has told you about life. So from that, I just kind of begin to think a little bit more about who I am and some of the things that I've wrestled with personally, and really just my perspective about culture and my own experiences with other people in general. And the more I started thinking about it, that's kind of where I landed, was this concept to try to communicate from a personal angle and hopefully relate to other people.
That's good, bro. That's good. I gotta tell you, bro, like your verse on Powdered Toast, man, like it's a lot of like this is my thing. It's a lot of really good moments on this album. Like it's a really good album. But for some reason, like when the first time I went through the album, I listened to that song, like in your verse in particular, like 5 times in a row. Like, man, this is like, yeah, because I was just trying to take it all in, brother.
Yeah, man, that song is it's just like an opportunity to just enjoy rap for me. You know, like it's nothing more. The beat is just, it is what it is. I love rap, bro, and just being able to take a moment and step outside of a concept and just say, yo, this is for me.
Yep.
And just go there. So I had a lot of fun with that verse. Like, it was funny in some ways. Like, you know, I wonder if some people caught some of the things that I was saying. It's just funny. It was a lot of fun.
Well, I wanted to ask you a couple things in that verse, like it was almost like I felt like there was a couple lines in there, like 5% apologetics, like for the people that say, you know, Christianity is a white man's religion.
Yeah.
Do you like? Are you, because I know Columbus is becoming like even more diverse now as it's growing. Are you like? Do you get a lot of that now? Like just in your interactions with people locally.
Man, I've got a lot of that through the years, bro. You know, I come from a background where we go do street evangelism.
Yep.
You know, so when you talk to people just out in the neighborhoods, you get different responses, and you know, you come across somebody who's the conscious brother who wants to school you on life,
right?
And you know, why what you believe is a fallacy and all this different stuff. And, you know, a lot of times Christians are unprepared for that, and there was a time where I was unprepared for that. I had to really think through what I believed. So yeah, man, I've encountered that several times throughout my life. I mean, there was a time where I was working. I think some of those jobs where you're working, like, you know, heavy hours, like in a warehouse setting, you can really get into some deep conversations with your coworkers. And bro, there was a time where I was working like third shift, and you get into some real conversations, like at 4:00 in the morning, like just to stay awake. And some of those dudes would be hitting me with stuff from the Quran, and, you know, hit me with stuff from the scriptures, like, man, you really believe this? And I'm like, yeah, and I have to tell them why and all this different stuff. So that was just like a little plug into that world.
Yeah, I it's like, it's one of those things, man. I enjoy having those types of conversations with people because I get them a lot out here too. But it's one of those things where I'm just like, man, the perception of Christianity to some people is so jaded, and people just told them lies. And it's just like, yo, like, do you understand that from the beginning of Christianity, it was always a multinational, multiracial religion? Like,
yeah, bro. Yeah. Yep. But this is the thing, though, bro. It's really layered in a sense, because a lot of times, you know, if you have like a hybrid version of Islam, or you know, you're a 5% or something like that, a lot of the presentation for that for young black men is kind of this position of power, or empowering someone. So that is appealing, and I understand that. I understand, in contrast to our country's history with Christianity and some of the political implications of that, like they're going to be more endeared towards someone looking them in the eye and saying that you are somebody, you're a God on this earth, and you don't have to take nothing from nobody, and you don't have to believe what somebody tries to sell you. I understand that's the starting point. So engaging the conversation that way is almost like a type of compassion that you have to give.
Sure. Nah, and I think you're totally right, because a lot of times, man, people look at this and they say, well, not even just like just from a power standpoint, but they'll say, which was true, Christianity was used as almost a validation of slavery, as a form of validating the oppression.
Yep.
You know, and even though it was misused like that by a lot of people, it's like you gotta peel back the scriptures to them to say, well, this is what the scriptures really meant. It was taken out of context, and so you can't necessarily focus on the people that did it. You have to focus on the intended meaning that God had for it.
Yeah, bro. And I found it most helpful just to talk about the nature of God himself.
That's it.
You know, like, you know, get the picture out of the way, get the people out of the way, should I say? Because a lot of times, like, people have just developed this idea of who the enemies are in this world, and all of this horizontal interaction between people. We can just get people looking vertical and starting to wonder about things that are greater than us, then that's when we can really, really start to see some people be penetrated by that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I got a question for you, bro. Do you like single word song titles? And I ask because even on the Straw Man, like, you got a lot of single word song titles.
Yeah. Straw Man was intentional. Like, I wanted every song to be one word.
Okay.
I really tried on this album to not make that the same. Because I mean, you know, Powdered Toast Man is one of them. It's just like, nah, I'm rolling with this title because it accomplishes my goal. And, you know, even Mike Lowry and Marcus Graham helped with that too. So, yeah. I mean, sometimes it just was what it was. It just sounds better. But, yeah, that obsession ended with the Straw Man.
I got you. Well, I'm just seeing Famous, Gorgeous, Vogue, Cold, Enemies. Yeah. See, I mean, a part of that too, bro, is self-consciousness, man, because, you know, I ramble a lot, and sometimes I can be long-winded, so sometimes I'm just trying to, like, be concise and say, okay, what's this song about? What am I really trying to communicate? Yeah.
Yep, one word, boom.
That's good, man. Your favorite producers to work with, bro?
Man, they on the album. Those are all of my top producers. Like, and I'm talking, like, I'm not talking CHH to me. Like, I think these dudes are exceptional on any level. You know, like, so Daniel Steele, incredible, genius. Wit, mad scientist. Same thing with Peace 586. Wes, like, bruh, we connected so quickly on just all things sonically. Those are my, not only my friends, but, like, man, it is an amazing opportunity to be able to sit down and create with those dudes.
Do you, like, when you went into this, did you have, like, kind of like a blueprint already, or did you start creating and just kind of see where it went?
We just started creating this to see where it went. And I have to also give a shout out to 42 North, because they brought out even more of that creative energy on some of those songs. And we just sat down, bro, and we talked about the concept, and we had the first night we were all together doing that. Like, we cranked out like 7 records, just from a production standpoint.
Wow.
And and it was like an amazing vibe. I actually went to sleep before they were done creating the music. Like, I was just like, I can't stay up no more. I'm done. And they stayed until almost like, the middle of the night, just because the vibe was so dope.
And this was, where were you guys at? You guys were in Columbus, or you guys were in Delaware?
We were in Delaware at Witt's Studio, at the Bat Cave. Yep.
In the Bat Cave.
Yep. The Bat Cave, bro.
Just cranking joints.
Yep. Just back to back. Like, it was too much, bro. Like, I couldn't contain it all, because, I'm sitting here trying to think lyrically what I'm about to do to this stuff, but at the same time, I'm just tripping over, like, where did that come from? I got to go to bed.
I'm mad you say you got to go to bed, though.
Yeah, bro, it was too much, man. Like, I was already operating on lack of sleep, so the room was Chris, Witt, Wes, and 42 North. Tragic Hero came through. They was just going at such a high octane level, and I was just like, man, okay, I'm the one who has to write to this stuff, so there's only so much I could take. Let me just take a breath.
That's good, though. That's good, bro. That's good. That's a good story right there, man. So let me get this right. Y'all did like 7 joints in a day?
Yeah, from like maybe like a 6-hour period, 5-6 hour period, just back to back to back, just beats.
Wow,
just crazy.
So you took that foundation. What songs did all those end up making it?
One of them did not. One did not make it.
Well, okay. So you took that foundation, and then would you say, I'm going to go get some other pieces from some other places?
Yeah, and it was in my mind. The people who I wanted to work with were already in my mind. So it was, and it wasn't like I needed to go far outside of just the homies. Like, I mean, these are my friends. So I was just like, yo, if we can just make an album with us, then I will be all the way set. So that foundation was laid, and then we built off of that foundation just in the days and the months after that. But, man, once that foundation was laid, bro, we were good.
That's good, bro. That's good. I love hearing about the making of projects, man. I'm like a music nerd like that.
Yeah.
I love hearing about that, man. Let me ask you this, bro. As a pastor, and I know you kind of operate in a lot of different types of worlds, man. I just wanted to get your thoughts. I've been asking everybody this, but just your thoughts on like what's happening with Black Lives Matter and police brutality and all of that stuff right now, bro.
Yeah, it's interesting for me because I mentioned in Scapegoats, like I'm pastoring at a majority white church right now.
That's why I thought you would have an interesting viewpoint of this, bro.
Yeah. So navigating those issues have been it's been interesting. Thankfully, man, there's just been a lot of grace, like people who are legitimately asking questions. Not trying to impose their opinions, but really trying to sit down and interpret God's grace through all of this. And to be honest with you, bro, I think this activity in our nation, it's a painful and it's a joyful thing at the same time. It's painful in the sense that I think that we're not just talking about police brutality as a campaign strategy or just as a banner itself. We're literally talking about people who have lost their lives. Like, people's lives have ended throughout the momentum of what we're talking about. So it still sticks with me that Trayvon Martin's no longer on this earth.
Right.
still sticks with me that Eric Garner's gone and Mike Brown are gone, like they're dead. So what we try to do, or at least what I try to do, is approach the conversation just from that standpoint that life is precious. Then we begin to unpack the historical significance of why Black people rally around this type of an issue, because it's not just a now thing where we're living in this post-racial society and we're making a big deal about nothing. No, the imagery and the significance historically is worth part of the conversation. But I'm gonna say something to you, bro. It's gonna sound kind of weird, but to be quite honest with you, I'm pretty much tired of and or done with this whole racial reconciliation banner. Like, I'm tired of it, man, because it's not that I don't think it is a gospel issue, because I think it is. It's just that the legs behind it are going to require so much from people that I'm tired of talking about it. Like, I want to see the Spirit of God, like, literally move in people's hearts and minds to act. So having another message or sermon or book about this, to me, is fatiguing, because I'm on the ground level and I want to see God do some work in people's hearts so that we actually see the Spirit of God using the church to change this on a local, national level. And, God gets glory out of this instead of a Black voice being right and a white voice being wrong.
It's good. Yeah, I've always felt like, and I want your opinion on this. I want to throw this theory out, because I've seen this in hip hop, and in hip hop, it's like a lot of times when you're not working with a person, there's a perceived beef or issue there with a lot of people outside of the relationship, particularly fans, right? And I feel like in the church, the same thing exists. Like, you'll have Black pastors, white pastors, Hispanic pastors, all in the same city. Asian pastors, throw any nationality in there. Asian pastors, all in the same city, all seemingly for the same cause, but you never see them working together. And so the perception for people not in the middle of those relationships, but just observing from afar, is, man, these people don't get along. There must be some type of issue, some type of beef there, some type of disagreement of some kind. Yes. And I feel like, to your point, maybe the solution is, instead of just us talking about how we got to get together and boom, 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 we need to just get together and just do something.
Yes. Yes. I mean, bro, amen, pass the offering plate. Let's move on. Like, bruh. Like, I mean, dog, like, it sounds so simple, but that's literally what we have to do. Like, it's what the heart is behind me saying I'm tired of the discussion of racial reconciliation, because literally, when was the last time you walked through the other pastor that you don't have a relationship's front door, sat down and say, hey, can we have a conversation? Or can we schedule some time to have dinner, or you meet my family, and what can we do together? And bro, there are so many reasons why that's not happening, because there's you have to give up a lot on both sides in order to make that happen. And people are not willing to give it up, man. Like, they're saying that they are. They're saying that this is about the gospel, this is about humility and all this different stuff. But when it comes down to the come down, and you really got to give it up, they're not willing to do it, bro. And that's why the divides remain. The sacrificial element it has not been ignited yet across the board. And once we continue to see that, then we'll get some momentum behind this.
I think too, we don't see ourselves as being on the same team.
Yeah. Yeah.
It-
Oh man, you opening up stuff, bro.
you know what I'm saying? I feel like, and I feel like politics is a big part of it,
Yeah.
but I feel like I feel like a lot of black churches don't necessarily feel like, man, we like we're on the same team as the evangelical churches or the
Yeah.
Hispanic churches, or and I'm even using broad strokes with that because all evangelical churches or all black churches ain't even lined up together. So I'm using broad strokes to try to paint this picture, but I feel like there's just so much, like, with even with that stuff that we gotta just work through, and you almost just gotta just say, man, let's just do something together and work it out as we go along. Man, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Or just come out with what you're struggling with.
Yeah.
Like just come out with it, man. Be direct. You know what I'm saying? Like people, it's been frustrating, man, because people are passive aggressive about this. And it's like, yo, you're really dealing with some stuff. And I just kind of came through the gate crashing, like, serving in the pastoral capacity to just say some things directly about what this means for me to serve in this capacity. Like, it's weird for me to have to adjust culturally. I am dealing with tokenism. Like, I am wrestling through that all the time.
You wrestling with being the token black guy.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
And I'm sharing that with the elders and just trying to help them understand just where I'm at.
Have they told you you're the token black guy? They haven't said that, right?
No, bro. No, nobody's supposed to say that. Nobody wants to say that. Like, that's like a bad word right now. But at the end of the day, man, like, I feel like it's a means to try to get somewhere, man, because, bro, like, me and my wife deciding to go to a majority white church is a decision, a conscious decision.
Yeah.
And it's a decision to be uncomfortable on some levels. It's a decision to have to wrestle with things that are not familiar to us. But it is a sober-minded decision to see the gospel worked out in our hearts, in our minds, and to reconcile things that have been completely divided. And I don't know if across the board, like, people are really ready to give that up and to do that, whether or not you join another church or anything like that, but just to come together and shake hands. People are terrified of just, like, looking each other in the eye and meeting each other and saying hello if you're not familiar with them.
Wow.
So we gotta, I mean, bro, it's just a lot of prayer. I have seen some fruit, so it has been encouraging in some ways. But to me, I just think that the foundation for a systematic approach to it has been laid. I don't know if we need any more resource materials or any more discussions about it. Now we just need to call the people to act.
How did your family take it when you because I know obviously your dad's a pastor of a church and Chris is heavily involved in it, and it's kind of the family space. Like, how did they take it when you went to this new situation?
Cautiously. My dad was, he was just kind of like, okay, being a dad, just telling me to be careful and to make sure that I understand what's taking place, and I think it's important to say that and acknowledge that, because what a lot of people in the black community wrestle with in light of just historical things that we've dealt with between evangelical churches and what you call Pentecostal charismatic.
Yep.
Is a lot of distrust. A lot of just, I don't know, just there's misunderstandings and assumptions being made from far off instead of coming and getting to know a person. So when you have that distance, then you're suspicious of the other side. And I think my dad was just kind of like still trying to understand whether or not his son was entering into a good situation for not only for me personally, but for my family.
Man, I love your dad, man. Like,
Yeah.
I do, man.
Yeah.
Like, he's a good man, bro. And you know what I mean? Like, that's real though.
Yeah. Yeah, and I appreciate that. I appreciate him being a dad that's like that. My mom is a bit more open to it, but and Chris has been able to navigate through some of those spaces. But the thing about us as a family is we talk about a lot of this stuff. Like, we're very open with each other about where we are in our journey, and they're going through a similar thing in their own ministry capacity by merging a mostly black church with a mostly white church, and that literally setting as one church. Like, they're going through a similar journey, so it helps.
Yeah, that's tough, man. Would you and Chris ever do like a group album again? Like, I don't know if y'all would call it the Elevationists, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, we would have to call it an Elevationist thing. We've talked about it a lot. I think it will happen.
Really?
Eventually. Yeah, I think it will happen. I don't know when, but I think where we are now is creatively and just through the maturation process through the years, like, we could easily do it probably within days, like coming together and just creating in like a week.
Wow.
So it's just a matter of finding the time and space to do it. But that will always be there.
I think that'd be dope, bro.
So do I.
Like, especially now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think especially now, like, both of y'all's sound has matured a lot from those early, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
I think it would be dope, man. Like, both of y'all know so much, you know. I think both of y'all are probably a little bit more comfortable even in who you are as artists. And yeah, man, I think that'd be ill.
Yeah, I mean, it's very possible, man, and it could be one of those surprise things. I kind of leave it at that, but trust me. Trust me, it's something that could be done at any moment.
I got you. I'm not gonna read into that. I'm just gonna leave that there for a minute.
Yep, I'll just put that on the coffee table and see if anybody wants any.
That's good, man. That's good, man. So Taelor, man, what's next for you this year, man? What you looking at, brother?
Well, exclusive is I'll say it that way. Just exclusively sharing with you, bro, is Middle Class is next. Wes and I are already, beginning to brainstorm what that's going to look like and sound like. But yeah, for sure, that's at the top of my mind as far as next. We're going to get back into the creative process together and do some more Middle Class.
Nice. That's good, bro. Well, Taelor, man, I know you got this flight to catch, brother, and I'm not trying to make you late for this joint.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's good, man. Like, I love, bro, like when I talk, and for whoever's listening or who will listen, like, talking away though is like just having a conversation. So you can almost forget that it's an interview.
Well, yeah, I don't want you to totally forget. And then you slip some stuff in there you're not supposed to slip in there.
Yeah, some of that too. I mean, but it's almost like you feel like you should because you're just talking to the homie like, yo, you know this, bro? And then, hey, man, go ahead and edit that.
Man, we just kicking it, brother. We just kicking it, man. Well, look, bro, enjoy your flight, man. And, for y'all that don't have the new record, make sure you pick it up. The Mocker and the Monarch, available right now. We got a review up at WadeORadio.com. You can definitely check that out. But Taelor, man, appreciate you, brother.
Man, appreciate you, bro.
Word up.
On the Way Radio Show. On the Way Radio. On the Way Radio Show. Where it's much more than music, it's ministry.